I am your coach, Crown Jeremiah. Creating a unique and a classic graphic design is a great game, and it gives you an edge over other graphic designers. And in today's episode of Creative Designs, I'll be taking you guys step by step on how to make that unique and classic design in Photoshop. So let's pop into our Photoshop and get started. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and also hit that notification bell in order to notify you when I drop my next video. I am so passionate to see you improve in your graphic designs. So let's get started.
Alright, welcome back. So this is our interface and we are going to be creating a new canvas. So go to your file, new. The width I'll be using 10 inch and the height I'll be using 10 inch. Then the resolution I'll be using the value of 300 and the color mode is going to be on RGB, and I'm going to leave it on a white background. So hit the OK. Right, so this is our canvas, this is the workspace, and this is where we are going to be creating all our designs. So without wasting much time, let's just get started. Okay, this is our resource files and we are going to be using all these resource files for our design. So firstly, I'll just drag my background to my canvas. So this is the background, drag it to your canvas, the work area. Right, so hit the enter on your keyboard. All right, so I'm going to be using more of the layers. All right, so I'm going to right click on this layer, right click on the layer and rasterize it. Okay, so all right, so we want to make the background a bit darker. So go to your image, go to adjustment and select the curve. All right, so we have the curve here, so I just need to walk around with our setting, just play around with the setting. All right, just hit the OK. Okay, so we have this right now. So I'm going to blur the background a bit. You go to your filter, select the blur and select the Gaussian blur. So I'm going to reduce that a bit. Alright, so this is okay. You have to increase the background. It's the Ctrl T on your keyboard and just increase the background. It's the enter on your keyboard. Alright, this is our background. I'm going to be creating an ellipse to a cycle. Alright, select your cycle, select the ellipse to here, then hold down your shift on the keyboard to get a perfect ellipse to. Alright, so we have this ellipse to. What I need to do right now, I'm going to rasterize the ellipse to layer. Just right click, go to your layer, right click and rasterize the layer. So what I need to do is change the color. Double click on the ellipse tool, come to color overlay, select the color overlay, come to your color here, just you can see the color, select the color. Alright, when I bring my cursor out of this dialog box, see what happens. It changes to an eyedrop, something that looks like an eyedrop. You can use the eyedrop to select a color. Alright, so I'll be selecting a kind of bright color here. Alright, so this is what I have here, and just select the OK, hit the OK. Okay, so this is what I have. I'm going to right click on my layer to rasterize that layer. Okay, rasterize. So I want to blur this background here. Okay, so come to your filter, come to blur, select the Gaussian blur. Alright, so this time around we're going to increase it, just increase it. Right, just hit the OK on your keyboard. Okay, just hit the OK there. Alright, so I'm going to be changing the blend mode of this ellipse to the cycle here. I just want to make that area a bit brighter. Okay, you come to this place, come to your layer. Alright, you will see what you see normal there. Just open up that place and change it to overlay. Alright, so you can see what we have there. We have a bright yellow color at the center of the background. So hit the Ctrl T on your keyboard to make it bigger. Alright, just hit the enter. Okay, so that is what we have there. Alright, I'm going to reduce the opacity of the cycle, the layer cycle there. I'm just going to select my layer, then reduce the opacity. You can see the opacity there. You can see the opacity, just reduce a bit. Alright, it's okay. Okay, this is fine. So what we need to do is start bringing in our write-up. Okay, so I'll be using this text tool. Come here, select your text tool and start typing your text. Alright, so this is our text. Just drop the text and start typing. Alright, so this is what we have here. So come to character here, you will see come here, you will see a character. Open up the character and start, just change the font there. Okay, so I'll be using a font called Star C. Just hit the enter. Okay, so I will change that to black. Alright, so this is black. So I'm going to spread the text. I'm going to make create a spacing in between the text. So come to this place, this area, and increase your text spacing. Okay, this is fine. So I'm going to reduce the font. I'm going to reduce it to 30. Alright, so this is okay. This is okay. So I will add more font there. So this, on this layer selected, hit the Ctrl J on your keyboard to duplicate that very layer. So hit the Ctrl J on your keyboard. So you can see right now we have two of the layers there. So that means we have the worship and prayer conference, two layers. So I'm just going to drag this down. Right, okay, this is okay. So select your text tool and just change the information. So I'm going to select that and change that to sound. Alright, so this is okay. Bring it in there, increase the font size. Right, so this, we are going to close down the character spacing. So I will open here and reduce that. Okay, this looks better. So I'm going to increase that. Hit the enter on your keyboard, then drag this down. So I will have to duplicate the sound layer again. So hit the Ctrl J on your keyboard. So we have two sound layers. So I'll drag this down and increase that. I'm going to increase this, don't worry, just increase that. So I have this increased, but this time around I will have to close down the character spacing. So let's take it up to -5. Okay, this is okay. You can actually add your value. You can type value there. I can add my own value. I can use -12 there and hit the enter. Alright, so this is what we have there. So what I need to do right now is I'm going to rasterize this very sound, the bigger sound layer there. You'll go to your layer, right click on it and hit select the rasterize type. Okay, so this, so what I need to do right now, I'm going to hold down the Control on my keyboard and click this very area. You can see, just look at the layer there and click, see what happens. So we have this sound selected. So I'll go to my select and I'll go to the select the contract. I'll be using this contract. Okay, just watch what we're trying to create there. So every step of this video is going to add value to you, so do not skip or miss any step. All right, so select the contract. So I'm going to be using a value of 8. all right, so hit the OK. All right, so what I need to do now, just hit the delete on your keyboard. All right, so you can see, and you can, to deselect, just hit the Control D on your keyboard. Okay, so this is actually what we have. What I need to do now, I'm going to change the color of this sound, the bigger sound with outline white. So come to your layer, double click on your layer, choose the color overlay, then select the color overlay and change it to white. Okay, and hit the OK and hit the OK. So I'm going to reduce the opacity just a bit. Reduce the opacity there. All right, so I can leave it, I can leave the value as 72. So the value there is 72. So what I need to do, you can, if you can watch closely, this very big sound layer is on top of the small sound layer, the black one. So I'll just come to my layer and drag it down so that it goes below the very sound, the black sound layer. All right, so what I need to do right now, select the big layer, the white big layer, hit the Control T to reduce that. And hit the enter. You can actually reduce the opacity a bit. Okay, so the value now is just, the value of the opacity is 45. Okay, so that looks better. So what I need to do right now is, I'm going to select the sound layer again, the black sound layer, and hit the Control J on my keyboard to duplicate that. So have this that now. I'll drag this down, then I'm going to select my text to impute another information there. So I'll change that to a reviver. Okay, so I'm going to change that font style here. Go to your character and change the font style. So I'm going to be using this font. All right, good. So you can see we have this font here. So hit the Control T to select and just make it a bit bigger. Hit the enter on your keyboard. So I'm going to be applying a gradient on that reviver. So what I need to do, go to your layer, double click the layer there, just double click it, and now pops out with the layer style dialog box. In this area you can play around with your color settings, your gradient settings, your pattern overlay, and the outglow, shadow, and the texture stroke in this particular area. But right now I'll be using the gradient overlay. So come to your gradient overlay and select the gradient overlay. So see what happens when you hit that gradient overlay. So you can start adjusting your color overlay by hitting that color overlay button again. So just come here and start adjusting your gradient. So I will hit the gradient here. It brings another dialog box. So in this area you can see the gradient colors. Here you have the black and the white gradient. You can actually add another gradient color, but for now we'll not be needing that. So let me delete that color overlay there, just delete. So I'll be using the white. I'll change this black, select this area here where you see this box here, select it, then it pops out with another, you will see the color there. So select the color and I'll be using the red. Okay, so hit the OK, and in this area I will select this very area and I'll be changing that to a dark red kind of brown. All right, so this is okay, and I hit the OK and also hit the OK. So in this angle layer, in this very gradient overlay, you can see this angle, so I can decide to change my angle to this direction. So I'm leaving the angle at a value of 0. All right, so I'm leaving the angle at a value of 0. So I'm going to add shadow to that. So come to here and select your shadow and hit the shadow again. So you can see we have the shadow, and you can also play around with your shadow outside the dialog box. So see what I mean here? If I bring out my cursor outside my dialog box, you can see I can drag down my shadow. I can bring my shadow here, and I can take my shadow anywhere. So right now I'm going to drag the shadow down. Just drag it down. Okay, so I'm going to reduce the opacity of that shadow. I think it's kind of a bit too bold there, so I'm going to reduce that. All right, okay, so I can go to increase the size. All right, so this is what we have there. So hit the OK. So I'm going to hit the Control T to select that and make it big, bolder. All right, so this is the reviver. I'm going to bring it down. So I'm going to select this sound, select the sound, select your sound layer. Okay, just bring that and reduce that, and it's the enter on the keyboard. Bring that down. Okay, so this is what we have there. Okay, so I'm going to select all the layer and just hit it up, just push it up a bit. So select the sound layer, the sound layer, take it up, take this up too, then bring the reviver here. You can actually increase your reviver. Good. So this is what I have. So I'm going to be changing the color of this sound to red. Just select your sound, then double click the sound layer, come to the color overlay. Okay, then change the color here. You can see, so I'll be using this red, so you can bring it down a bit. All right, so hit the OK, hit the OK. So this is what we have. So I'm going to copy that very layer, that sound layer. So hit the Control J. Well, once you select the layer there, hit the Control J on your keyboard. Sorry, hit the Control J on your keyboard. So you have these two now. So I will just select my text tool and input another information. So I'll change that to off. Okay, so all right, bring it out here. So I'll change that character. I'll use a reggae, italics, reggae, as a ray. All right, so this is actually what we have there. So I'm going to reduce that, just reduce that, reduce that. Okay, can reduce it, hit the Control T to select and just reduce that. Okay, so I have this now. So I'm going to change that color to black. Okay, just come to the layer there, double click on the layer and change that to black and hit the OK and hit the OK. So this is what we have. So right now let's start bringing in our images. All right, so I'm going to drag in, come to your resource, come to our resource file there. I'll bring the hosts. All right, bring it, just drag it to your layer there and bring it here. Just bring it up here, bring it up here. All right, hit the enter on your keyboard. So right now I'm going to be fading this area. I'm going to be fading this area where his hands, so I'm going to fade that area. So what I need to do right now, I'm going to come to the layer, right click on the layer, rasterize the layer. So I'm going to add a layer mask, where you can see a layer mask here. Come to this area, you can add a layer mask, just hit that layer. Now once you create that layer, what this does, it brings a box, a white box in front of that very layer you want to be adding the mask. Okay, so I'll select that, come to your my gradient tool here, select the gradient tool. You can hit the Ctrl G on your keyboard and just drag it down, just drag it down to get the kind of gradient you actually want. So this is the gradient we want. So right now I'll just have to bring all this information, the sound, just select the sound off, and the reviver, just bring everything in this area. You can actually increase that, so you can actually play with your designs. You can play with your designs, okay, to give you that classic look you ever wanted. Alright, so that is what we have now. So what I need to do, I'll bring more information, so I'll be bringing more pictures. So I'll go to my resource file and drag this picture. So just drag this, alright, drag this, hit the enter, and right now you can see that this picture is under this very picture, the white picture here. So I'm going to just drag that up, just drag the layer up to bring it on top. Alright, okay, so this is what we have there. So what I need to do, I'm going to reduce that layer, just reduce that. Okay, so right now I want to power clip this very image inside a right angle. So what I need to do, I'm going to create a right angle. You can see, come to this very area, you can see a round right angle too. You can actually hit the control, you can hit the U on your keyboard. You can see that. So select that and draw a right angle. Alright, so this is okay. We're going to bring that here and bring this right angle, round right angle layer below the image layer. So just drag that layer. You can actually use the control and close brackets to close or open brackets to control your layers there. Alright, so this is what we have. So what I need to do right now is to power clip this image inside our right angle. So select the image layer, select this image layer here, please select the image layer, then hold down the Alt on your keyboard, just hold down the Alt. Once you hold down the Alt on your keyboard and go to that layer, you can see what happens in that area. It changes to this very shape here. So hit the, just hit that on your, so you can see we have our image power clip. You can actually adjust your image inside the right angle. You can hit the Ctrl T and start adjusting your image there. Hit the enter. Okay, so this is actually what we have. So what I have to do now, I'm going to group these two layers. I'm going to group the right angle and the image layer. Just select the two layer and hit the Ctrl G on your keyboard. Okay, you can see we have this grouped. So I'm going to change the group name. So go to the layer and rename your group. Hit the rename group there. I'm going to change that to Prosper. Right, so that's just it. Okay, so we have this group layer here. You can see it is grouped now. So what I need to do right now is I'm going to duplicate this layer. Just hit the Ctrl J, select the group layer and just hit the Ctrl J on your keyboard. You can see we have the two group layer. We have the Prosper Ochimana copy and we have the Prosper Ochimana. So what we need to do now, just bring this out of this area. Just bring it out. Okay, all right, so I'll change this group name, but meanwhile let's bring in a picture we want to add in there. So I'll bring this image here, just drag it to your workspace. All right, so just drag it down to have a perfect for you not to distort the image. Just hold down your shift and select that area and just drag it down. So what I need to do now, you can see I will open this layer here. Just open this copy layer, open, drag this Nathaniel Bassey, this image in here. All right, don't worry, we're going to adjust, delete this very one, delete. Okay, so you can see, just don't worry, you can adjust. Good, just drag that to the area, so you can see we have that image in that right angle. So I'm going to change that group name. So select that layer, go to your layer and rename that group. So I'm going to use change it to Nathaniel Bassey. All right, so we have this. So I'm going to select that Nathaniel Bassey layer and hit the Ctrl J again to duplicate. So bring that down here. All right, so you can use your left and right arrow up and arrow key to adjust the picture. So I'm going to bring in another image. This time around I'll be bringing in Massive Chinwo. Okay, just drag that in your workspace. Okay, so bring it out here. All right, okay, this is okay. Hit the enter on your keyboard. So open this Nathaniel Bassey layer, the copy of that Nathaniel Bassey. Just bring in your image there and delete the other image there. All right, so see what we actually have there. So adjust your image. All right, so we're going to change that layer again, change that group layer, go to your layer and rename the group. So we're going to write Massive Chinwo. All right, so we have this message. So I'm going to duplicate that layer again. So we have Message Chinwo copy and Message Chinwo. So we'll just drag this here. All right, so go to our resource file, and this time around we're going to be bringing in Team Godfrey. Bring it down. So just bring it down. Hold down your shift. You have a perfect adjustment, so you don't distort the image. So I bring it in here. All right, so just hit the enter on your keyboard. So all right, I'm going to open that Message Chinwo layer and bring it in there. So I'm going to delete that other image there. So you can see we have this in there. So I'm going to rename the group again. Go to your layer, rename. This time around I'm going to use Team Godfrey. All right, Team Godfrey. Okay, so right now I'm going to select the 4 images, this very image. I'm going to select the layers here, select, I want to adjust it. Okay, select that. You see, just bring it there, bring it down. So hit the Ctrl T on your keyboard, select everything, just bring it down small. All right, so hit OK. All right, so this is what we have. So what I need to do now, I'm going to select that Team Godfrey layer and hit the Ctrl J to duplicate. So all right, so let's type down our names. So I'll be using this. All right, so hit the Ctrl T to select and reduce that. Reduce that. Yeah. Just reduce. So bring it here. All right, that's good. So I'll change this name to I'll change all the letters to capital letters. So come to your character and hit the 2 capital T, just hit that. All right, So I'm going to increase the line space in the prosper and the chimney. I'm going to increase that. So I'm going to use 14. I'm going to use the value of 18. Alright, so this is better. So I'm going to make the prosper bolder. So select that and come to, I'm going to be using the bold. Alright, good. So this is what we have. So what I need to do now, I'm going to duplicate that very prosper layer. But before we do that, let's just reduce that with the Control T and reduce. Let's reduce that. It's okay. So I'm going to Control J on the keyboard to duplicate that name, because we want to be using the names, the font style there. So just select that and change that to So what I need to do, I'll change this, I'll change the color of this right angle. I'm going to be using a kind of gray color on that right angle. So select the, come to your layer and select the layer. So this we have the prosper. So open the prosper group layer, just open it. You can see an arrow there, just open it there. You can see the right angle here. Select the right angle, come to your rectangle here, select it, then open, and I'll be using this. Okay, I'll be using that gray. So I will do the same to all the layers. Do that to these two. Select that layer, come to this place and change that. Okay. And so this is what we have. So what I need to do, I want to change the color. I want to just kind of adjust the color of this image. So I want to be using something that looks like a gray on that image. So select your image layer, just rasterize that image first. Select that layer and rasterize that. So go to the image and go to adjustment, select hue and saturation. You can actually hit Ctrl U on the keyboard. Right, so I'll play around with the settings here. So I'm going to use, just bring down that. You can see what effect we have. Just bring down the gray here and bring it down. So just the lighting, just reduce it a bit. All right, and hit the OK. So I'm going to do the same to all the images. Okay, right now I will be using curve to adjust that image here. I'll just be using curve. So select the prosper. I'll be starting with this prosper. Select that and go to your image adjustments, go to the curve. All right, just play around with the curve. You can see what happens there. All right, we're having this kind of look in there. All right, just you can play around with your own settings to just give you the kind of look you want. So I will do the same to all the images. So this is actually what we have here. So select all these layers and the names. Just select everything, come to there, select the names and that information there. So let's bring this up to separate that. Let's bring up this reviver and that reviver up to separate that from other layer, because I want to group all these layers together. Okay, so I'll group this, just hit select all the layer and just adjust that. Okay, good. Alright, so this is what we have in here. So I'm going to bring other image, but meanwhile I want to add kind of a drop shadow on this group pictures. So select the group picture, come to your layer, select the group picture, select that. Okay, we're using the Frank Edward. Double click on that layer, just double click to add a drop down shadow. So select that and just play around with your shadow. Alright, okay, increase the size. You can see the effect we're actually achieving there. Reduce the opacity. You can see the effect that we're actually having there, and increase that. Alright, just hit the OK. So what I need to do right now, I wouldn't want to start adding shadow on each of the images. So what I need to do, I'm going to copy the property of this group and apply it to each of the images. So just select the Frank Edward that has the shadow, the drop shadow, right click on it and just copy the layer style there. You can see it there, copy layer style, then come to the Team Godfrey layer here, right click, same on that, and just paste layer style. You see what we have there? So we start pasting on each image. So select the messaging there, right? So right click that too and paste. You can see we're having that shadow. So do that to Nathaniel Bassi. So right click and paste, and do that to Prosper Chimana. Just right click on the layer and paste. Right, so this is actually what we have. You can see right now that we're getting what we actually want. You can see that the design is coming out gradually. So let's bring in other information. So let's just bring the information. So I have this rough edge stuff I downloaded from a site called FreePix. So you can go there to get whatever template you actually want. So I'm going to drag that to my workspace. Just drag that. All right, just bring that here, bring that in here. All right, okay, just increase that, just hit the enter on your keyboard. So right now I just want to select all these. I want to select all these information, take them up so we can have space here to add other information. So I'm going to just select all that information there. Okay, select that. Okay, select this, select that, just bring up. Okay, so select our image. Just drag this up, just drag it up, drag that up. Okay, bring it down a bit. Alright, so this is perfectly okay. Just use your arrow keys to adjust and hit the enter. Okay, select this very soon. Okay, pick it up, make it bigger, select it, make it bigger. Hit the okay. So bring this rough edge stuff here, bring it down a bit. All right, so we are going to be adding other information. Okay, so let's start adding information. I'm going to select this worship and prayer conference. Select the layer, so you can see the layer is selected. Right, hit the Ctrl J. All right, bring this down, bring it down here. You can see the thing, this very duplicated layer is coming under this white stuff here. So what I need to do is just raise it up, raise the layer up, just raise it up, raise it up, don't worry. Okay, so you can see now, so right now you can see we have this on top of the white stuff here. Okay, so I'm going to select my text tool and input the date. So I'm using a tag 21st August 2022. All right, so let's just close the character spacing. Just come to this area and reduce the character spacing. All right, okay, this looks better, but I'll be using -5, so I'll increase that. Just select, hit the Ctrl T on your keyboard. I love using the Ctrl T to actually adjust my stuff. So bring this down. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this very layer again, this layer, the date layer. Just hit the Ctrl J, bring it down. So I'm going to type in another information. So doors open by 4 p.m. Alright, so I'll change that font to Metropolis, using of Metropolis here. Let's type in Metropolis. Alright, that's okay. Just reduce the fonts. You can use a 14. Okay, hit the Ctrl T. I love using the Ctrl T, just like I said, to adjust my font. So this is okay. Just select everything and bring it in here. Increase that. Increase that. Alright, this is okay. So I'm going to duplicate these two layers. Just select the two layer, these two layer, the date and doors open. Just hit the Ctrl J to duplicate that, bring that here. Wow, that's cool and easy. All right, so I'm going to change that information there. I'm going to use household of, just bring that up, household of rests. All right, so what I need to do now, I'm going to close the line spacing of the household. So just close that to 48. You can just try and value that to suit your design. All right, so this looks better. So select that, hit the Ctrl T to reduce that. Okay, bring down this here. So I'm going to change that to the venue of the church. Change that, just select the text tool and change it to the address of your choice. So bring this down, hit the Ctrl T to, alright, so hit the enter and just select the two and raise them up. Okay, that's good, that looks better. So bring this down, bring this two down here. Sorry, just select the date and this, and bring it down, just increase that. Good. Right, so I'm just going to be adding a kind of little lines in between the household and the date. So come to your right angle, open the right angle. I'll be using this right angle tool here. Just draw a little right angle here. Okay, this looks okay. Just bring it in here. Just use your arrow key to control that. Okay, so bring this, opens. Okay, select that too. Select this little right angle there and bring it to the middle. So increase, let's increase the church address. Increase that, hit enter. Okay, let's reduce this. Let's reduce that date. Reduce that to 14. All right, this is perfectly okay. So we're going to add the last but not the least, information. Just duplicate that layer there, bring that down here, and type powered by household of Rest Church Youth. Alright, so I'm going to just spread the text there. Good. So you can see what we have done in our Photoshop. So okay, right now I'm going to change this young man's picture to a kind of gradient, kind of gray scale color. So just right click to convert that to, okay, just select this particular layer, the picture layer, and go to your image adjustment and use the hue and saturation to bring that down a bit. Hit the OK. So we can go to the image adjustment, we use curve and just create a highlight on that image and hit that OK. Right, so this is our flyer design. Okay, so if this had added value to your creative life, do not forget to subscribe and also hit the notification bell in order to notify you when I drop my video. So I'll be dropping creative videos to help you grow, to help you improve, and to give you ideas on what to design when a client gives you a job. So hit the notification bell and subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned. I'm still your coach, Crown Jeremiah.